Welcome viewers to another edition of Brave Namibia, where we celebrate both ordinary and extraordinary Namibians. In our first clip today, 24-year-old El-Mine Shivute has shattered the glass ceiling by proving to herself that she can study towards 2 degrees while being the owner of Guide Bridal at the same time. She spoke to Elizabeth Joseph.
Hi guys, my name is El-Mine Shivute and I am the owner of Guide Bridal. I am 24 and I'm currently doing 2 degrees, which is law and business admin. So yeah, where do we start? I opened Guide Bridal in 2021, around September. This was obviously when COVID was like decreasing, so people started getting married again. And the reason I started the business actually was because I didn't really see a lot of wedding dresses that wowed me in the industry. Like, everyone was going for typically the same thing, and I wanted to promote exclusivity and have a bride feel like the princess that she is on her wedding day. Maybe we can go a little bit in my background. I am one of 3 children, the youngest and the only girl. So I didn't have a lot of dress up time with my brothers, obviously. Grew up quite a tomboy. So what majorly inspired me, other than the lack in market, was the fact that I wanted to rebrand. I wanted to improve where I felt like I lacked in my femininity, and I think Guide Bridal was the perfect way. I could really express my fashion sense with all the dresses. I could get playful, I could get creative, and I think that was what I was lacking during childhood. So I'm living my dream currently in my 20s. I think what makes me a brave Namibian is that not only is it obviously hard to be a student, but to be an entrepreneur and a student hand in hand, it's almost impossible. But I always believe that nothing is impossible if you have the right mindset and if you actually prioritize what makes you happy. So although there's challenges in juggling school and work, I find it rather satisfying and I surprise myself every day. I've had clients that have come in and they were just like, a 24-year-old is gonna dress me. And they were obviously a little bit skeptical, and I was just proud that I was able to convince them that I am fully capable. So I went to school in Windhoek, obviously, throughout my life. Never went to another city, never went to a different school. So I finished grade 1 to 7 in Eros Primary School, and then I went on to Delta Secondary School, which is in Olympia, not the other one. And that is where I really learned that I had a name, I had a niche. I was always a tomboy, and everyone kind of thought when they saw me in a school skirt, they'd be like, why? Since when? And ever since that, I kind of identified myself as one of the boys. And when I reached like varsity, I ran into so many girls that come to campus with makeup on, and I was like, I want to do that. And I remember the first day I did it, my brother kind of looked at me like, what are you trying to do? Like, this isn't you. And I said, but it can be. Because you don't need to stick to anything, any label that anyone puts on you. You can wake up tomorrow and be a different person. And that's what I did. I literally woke up one day and I said, I'm going to be more feminine and I'm just gonna take care of myself and I'm gonna dress what makes me feel better, makes me feel confident. And that is kind of how I learned that I think I want to join the fashion industry, but not like street fashion. I wanted to be the person you contact on your biggest day, which is your wedding. So that is how I got into the fashion industry. I actually wanted to be a doctor at first. Don't know.
Go.
So one of the challenges that I've faced during my business career was definitely advertising. A lot of people, they go for what they already know. So they'll go to a certain designer or they go to a certain bridal store. They hardly ever want to try something new. And a lot of our brides are very conservative. So they're not trying to be too glamorous, too much. A lot of our churches don't allow shoulders showing. So that was something to get used to when brides come in and they kind of want to alter your already designed dress and add like sleeves, which for me takes away from the design. But other than that, I would say that a lot of the brides that I have received have been very thrilled to try out new stuff, which I was super excited about. And they were very trusting in my expertise to dress them for their wedding. So I think the challenges are not as big as the blessings that come with it. One of the things that I could say are my personal future goals, personally, is to develop a bigger sense of self. A lot of the time I design dresses and I think of the world we live in, or like the city we live in, and how people dress naturally here. So I kind of tone down my ideas, or I water them down just to accommodate everyone. And I would really like to get that out of my system and just design dresses as they are, and it's kind of a take it or leave it type of thing. And another professional goal I'd like to do is obviously finish my degrees. I am studying law. I'd actually like to go into corporate law, hence why I'm doing business as well. And I do not think I'd use my degrees all the way. I'd probably do 5 years and just like stick to business. But it would be nice to have that type of background knowledge, and also it is important to finish everything you start. So there we go. So my biggest inspiration is Vera Wang. I think top two actually, because the second one is Panina Tournay. And I think because they're so extravagant with their designs, you would never see a dress and be like, it looks identical to another, and that is exactly what I'm going for. Hence why at Guide Bridal, once you get a dress, it's the only one that we're going to manufacture. And I do think that it inspires me every day to wake up and just come to work, though it's hard, because you want to be unique, you want to have a niche. The same way iStore doesn't just sell like technology, they sell a status, they sell exclusivity. If you have an iPhone, you're part of an elite gang, you can't just Bluetooth. And that is what I want. I want Guide Bridal to be elite. If you got a dress from here, you should be 100% sure no Tom, Dick, or Harry is going to have the same dress. Another really, really big thing for me is the legacy I want to leave behind. I want to inspire young women of color to just go for it. We're always very conservative, we're always very shy, and we are already known as loud, extravagant people. And I feel like it's time you love your passion. Doesn't matter who thinks it makes sense, doesn't matter how many people say it's impossible. If you can imagine it, it can happen. So this is actually one of the dresses I've designed. I am obsessed with pearls, and I think that's kind of like my current favorite fashion thing. Very dramatic, very look at me, it's my wedding. I like the color. I don't usually go for a lot of pure white dresses in general, just because of how it looks under lighting. So yeah, it's a clear cut. I would say this is quite conservative to me, because it's not doing a lot, but it's doing everything it needs to do, if you get what I'm saying.
Brilliant.
So yeah, you can see the back. It's a lace up and a zip, so you have the best of both worlds. And then the train is extremely long, because the aisle is probably long too, you know.
Okay.
So yeah. Then we'll show you one of these. This is actually a mermaid. This is, again, as you can see, the pearls, my favorite thing. But the tulle is definitely, it beats everything on this dress. Like, you'll never see this anywhere. And that's exactly what I'm going for. A dress that is just gorgeous. You don't even need to do a lot with your makeup and your hair. We can just look at you in your dress, doing your thing, walking down the aisle. Your husband's probably gonna cry. That's my thing. That's literally my thing. Okay, so over here, just gonna take a random evening gown. Obviously, you can do matric with this, wedding shoots. A lot of Namibians have engagement shoots. So this is usually what we have on our wedding dress aisle and our evening gowns. All of them always exaggerated.
I'm rolling, so you can just...
So this is a cute little bridal clutch bag, you know, because on your wedding day, you're actually not carrying anything. But if someone wants to ask, you could just, yeah. And we got some comfy shoes. Our shoes are all quite low. This isn't the standard 6-inch heel. Very comfortable, still a bit of, you know, bedazzles, just so that you can really feel like this is my wedding shoe and not just another heel in my closet. Also have sneakers, of course, for those that, you know, you can take the hood out of a girl, but you can't take the girl out of the hood like that. So we got some sneakers, just so that you're comfy. Might switch the shoes out. you know, all your bridal needs. We also have bouquets, actually. If you're not a flower girl, you know, you're not the type to just have flowers. This one you can keep, pass it on. A lot of people actually pass on their bouquets. My mom preserved hers.
Wow.
So now it's just dried flowers in the wedding.
Take a load off and tune into another episode of Brave Namibia, when we take a look at both ordinary and extraordinary Namibians sharing their stories. Brave Namibia is broadcasted on NTV Saturdays at 6:30 p.m. and oneup2.com, and broadcasted on the following Facebook platforms on Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. Republican, Allgemeine Zeitung, Namibian Sun, and all Namibia Media Holdings pages. For more information, contact the Brave team at brave@synergy.com.na. Brave Namibia, for the ordinary and extraordinary Namibians.
Newsprint Namibia is a web offset printing operation that specializes in the printing of newspapers and commercial inserts. We are the leaders in our industry with the highest quality print work and the shortest turnaround time from computer to print and delivery anywhere in the country daily. Newsprint was established mainly as a newspaper print company, but had to diversify its business to do commercial printing as required in the market. We print commercial inserts previously printed in South Africa in the shortest possible time. We, as an organization, also started printing workbooks for our education system and will also print textbooks for the Namibian market. For more information, please contact print@newsprint.com.
Next, we head to the coast, where Nicanor Nangolo caught up with Hubert Mukosho, the Executive Director of Namibia Youth Against Substance Abuse. He shares with us more on the issues faced by the youth today.
Okay, Namibia Youth Against Substance Abuse is actually an organization that I'm a founder of. It was formed in the year 2021. And its main objective is to try to effect positive mind change within the youth, mostly, of the country. We, in actual fact, provide psychosocial support, to counseling, raise awareness, sensitize communities on matters that affect them, as well as educate them. That's what we do, basically. So we work with social workers, psychologists, and other stakeholders, so to say. And we are operating under the Ministry of Health, obviously. So when I started this organization, I was alone. But then, because of the work that I was doing, it was recognized perhaps by universities, in that they started sending their interns that are studying for psychology, like Faith Kachire. And Africa's Chira is maybe the fourth one now to come. We've been receiving them. Fortunately, we've been receiving them year in, year out from university, which made the work much easier for us here. And social workers also from UNAM and so on. We've been receiving them, and counselors, those that are studying just to be counselors, like the other lady that you just met there, Madame Christophine. So they come and assist in trying to alleviate the scourge that we mostly are concentrating on, which is substance abuse amongst the youth. So how we operate, our modus operandi is that we usually receive referral letters from schools, such as these ones here. Whenever a school maybe catches a boy or a girl in possession of substances or a sharp object, or a boy or a girl is simply ill-disciplined, or is bunking too much classes and force the school to maybe suspend such a boy or girl, they in the past used to send them all to the state social workers. And then since we came here, state social workers saw that we are a big help, and they started referring them to us. So now schools are referring them straight to us through life skills teachers and so on. So when they are brought to us, they first call us and tell us, okay, we are having for you 2 students or 3 or 4 or even a group of 10. So we are referring them to your office. Please do what you guys do best by counseling them, coaching them, mentoring them in the process and so on. And that's what we do. They are brought to us, and we divide the work amongst ourselves with my colleagues here that are oftentimes intense, plus the counselors that feel they want to come and add weight to what we do. And we do our best by counseling them and so on. So that's what we do in short. Like recently, the most pressing one that we are currently experiencing is whereby we were invited to a primary school. Imagine primary school. Because I won't mention names because we don't want to stigmatize, and for confidentiality's sake. We were invited to such a school because they identified about 10 boys and girls aged between 8 and 12 that apparently outrightly told the school counselor that they are drug addicts and that there's nothing that the school counselor can do about it. Outrightly, in her face. And the school counselor tried by all means to do her work, but in the end she realized that it's a lost cause, and she sought for assistance, and apparently one of the board members reminded her that, okay, why not NYASA? Take these kids to NYASA. NYASA will help you a lot. And that's how we came on board with my colleagues, and we've been going there to that school on a weekly basis, sometimes twice or once, and we are accorded a place where we sit with them, we divide ourselves amongst the groups, and we listen to the kids. What we do is we try to ask questions that will bring about the enlightenment for us to understand the situation that they are going through. And through that, we've come to realize that it's actually the environment that our kids are living in that makes it probable for kids to go on that path. Like what we've come to realize is that these kids, after school, when they're at home, they are bored. They have nothing to do. And as a result, they stand on the gates watching how elders who are coming in their streets, standing at the houses of the merchants. Merchants are now the people that are selling drugs, and doing their thing, smoking and whatnot. And after smoking, they throw the leftovers now in the streets and so on. And these kids, because of curiosity, that's how they started apparently. They would then go and pick up these stones that were thrown onto the floor and pick up and unwrap the papers and take the contents of it, and they would then go to, like, at a stadium or soccer place, a place that's secluded. They would sit and try to make those zols the way how they see the elders do it, and they start to test. First time around they were coughing, but next time they're not coughing anymore, and they realize later apparently after school they just want to, it's like they are being pulled to it, to go and look for it, not knowing that that's actually addiction. That's how addiction starts. You can't live without it. They feel they can't just stay away from it. And as a result, that's how they became addicted, and later on they brought their addiction to schools. That's how they were caught by the school and ended up at the school, at the school counselor's office. But then they realized that the school counselor was just like kind of just rebuking them, what they're doing, not really trying to understand them exactly and talk to them as it's supposed to be, for you to understand how you can end up helping them. And that really pains one to see that an 8-year-old, even girl also is affected, as well as boys that are 11, 12. The way how they talk about it, it's like it's a norm. It's nothing. It's just something that can. It's just something normal that can be used by kids, and that really pains us. So those type of things are the things now that lead to the society that we are living in today. That leads to when they are growing up, they become so rebellious, starting from home to schools, and later on they are expelled from schools, and they come to see that life is too hard for them and end up trying even to commit suicide because they are simply not being kind of accepted in the society. Those type of things are what leads to that. Yes. Peer pressure is caused by the need of one to, let me say, a sense of belonging. Because, as I said again, from home, they don't have that sense of belonging. It's lacking. So they come and look for it at school, amongst friends. Now, unfortunately, those friends, amongst where they are looking it from, not all of them have good intentions. They are there to experiment about life. How do they experiment about life? By being to no good, misbehaving, and so on. Because they are trying to have a sense of belonging. They end up now doing what they necessarily don't feel good in doing, but to impress the others so that those accept them. So that's what leads them to end up doing bad stuff. Not all the peer pressure is bad, in actual fact. When they are surrounded with kids that are positive, like those that are sportive, that are into schoolwork and so on, that peer pressure is a healthy one. In that there they won't have a problem. But those that are of no good, when they fall in it, it's another problem. But then what we try to actually advise our kids that come to our office is that life is not about the next person. Life is about you yourself. It's about you yourself who's having the power to decide what to do. So don't do things that will make another person happy. Do things that you feel is good for you. Things that will make you be in a sane mental state. Things that will make you be in a healthy condition physically. Things that will make your parents proud. In that when a friend tells you, let's go and do this, while your instinct's telling you, no, this is necessarily not something that my mother would want me to do. You don't need to say yes. Say no. They must be able to confidently say no, and stand onto their beliefs that no, I rather do what I feel is right, and not just to keep falling for what the others are saying. That's what makes peer pressure become so powerful, because kids of nowadays are so gullible. Self-confidence is lacking. So we always try to probe them to start to take the self-confidence seriously, and for them to know that the power is actually within their own hands, irrespective of what their friends make them do that lead them to end up in this office. But the power is within their hands to right the wrongs. That's what we try and give them examples, and for them to start to identify what they can do on their own that's positive. And after that, when the child starts like that, we oftentimes start to see feedback from schools.
That's it for now, folks. Thank you for tuning in. If you know of someone you feel should feature on our show, please contact us at brave@synergy.com.na.